Berharga. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu la yusallu ala nabi ya ayyuhalladzina amanu sallu alaihi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا الله. فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا الله إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي. قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه. السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي. قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء.
فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، وتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء. قال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا منحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا ربي، ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال الله عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي، أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا منحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، فإنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله هما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. فاتحة.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخزى لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أزاله كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحت كل اسم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تلزم النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك واستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاض متذلل خاشع متزرع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا في جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم واسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك ولا مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد للذنوب غافلا ولا للقبائح ساتر ولا لشيء من عمل القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فاتح من البلاء يقلته وكم من إسار بقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من صناع جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم أعظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي أعمالي وقادت بي أغلالي وحبسني النفع بعد أعمالي وقتت بي الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها. ومثالي يا سيدي فاسلك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفزني بخفي ما طلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودمام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهوتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا بلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي ومولاي وربي من لي غيرك أسأل كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي جئت لي حكما اتبعت في هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغزني بما أحبى بسطه ولا ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاغك وقضاتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزا توجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في ساعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ذري وفكني من شد وساقي. يا رب حمزة فابدني ودقة جلدي ودقة عزمي. يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبردي وتقضيتي هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف بردك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه من قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واتقده ضميري من حبك بعد صدق رافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من تزيا من ربيته أو توعد من أدنيته أو تشرد من آويته أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي تسلط النار على وجوه خلدت لعظمتك ساجدة ولا ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة وبشكرك مادحة ولا قلوب اعترافت بإلهيتك محققة ولا زمائر ذهبت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشية ولا جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طاية وشهدت باستقرارك مذهبة ما هاكك الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك أنت يا كريم يا ربي وأنت تعلم الزافي القليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها ألا أن ذلك بلاء مكروه قليل مكروه يسير بقاه قصير مدته وكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته يدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي أمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أزج وابكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أملت للبلاء ومدته فلئن سيدتني في العقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على حر نارك وكيف أصبر النظر إلى كرامتك كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي يفوك وبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأزجن إليك بين أهلها زجيج العاملين ولا أصرخن إليك صراخ المستسرقين ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولا أناجينك إن كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية أمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق تام عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجنبه وجريرته وهو يزج إليك زجيج مؤمن لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك ورأفتك ورحمتك أم كيف توليه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يرهقه لهيبه وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم الضعفه أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربه أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما آملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين يقطع لا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهدك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجنت النار كلها بدا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقام ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تمنح من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجلى ثناؤك قلت مبتدئهم وتطولت بالإنعام متقدما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستطيعون إلهي وسيدي فاسلك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقصيرة حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أنت هبالي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباته الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جواره وكنت أنت رقيب عليهم من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيته وبفضلك سترته وأنت فلا هزي من كل خير أنزلته أو إحسان فزلته أو بر نشرته أو رزق بسطته أو ذنب تغفره أو خطاء تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي مولاي مالك قياما بيده ناصيتي يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمولا وبخدمتك موصولا وأعمالي عندك مقبولا حتى تكون أعمالي وأولادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قبل على خدمتك جواده واجدل العظيمة جماله وحبي الجد في خشيتك والدمام في اتصال بخدمتك أسرها إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرى إليك المبادرين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك ذنوب المخلصين وخافك مخافة المؤمنين واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارده ومن كادني فكده واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأقصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك واطف علي بمجدك وفصلي برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما من علي وبحسن إجابتك وقلني أسرتي واغفر لي زلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وزمنت لهم الإجابة وإليك يا رب نسحبت وجهي وإليك يا رب مددت يدي فبعزتك استجيب لي دعائي وبلغني منايا ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء وإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى من راس ما عليه الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستعشين في الظلم النار ظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل به ما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
मैं दरख्वास्त कर रहा हूँ जनाब हसन दरख्वास्त और मेहदी साहब और ज़िया प्लीज और मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
दिगर नारे सलाम सलाम के चंद से शहबे मेरा बरसरे मेंबर होना मजलिसे शहबे मेरा सिकंदर होना मजलिसे में मेरा बरसरे मिंबर होना जिसको दरकार हो दुनिया में अबू जर होना उसको लाजिम है गुबार दरे हैदर उसको लाजिम है गुबार दरे हैदर होना मजलिसे शमे मेरा पहले सोए तो कोई साए में तलवारों के पहले सोए तो कोई साए में तलवारों के इतना आसा तो नहीं नफ्से पैगंबर होना मजलिसे शमे मेरा बरसरे मिंबर गम शबीर ने अशकों की बढ़ा दी कीमत कतरे आपको सिखला दिया गौहर होना मजलिसे शमे मेरा बरसरे मिंबर इसको कहते हैं नसीब का सिकंदर होना मजलिसे शमे मेरा मोहम्मद पढ़ती है खुतबा शाम में ख़ार हुसैन की अर्श से है बुलंद सदा शोरो शैन की सूरत नहीं कोई जो गरीबों के चैन की रोती है रूह फाता बदरो नैन की रोती है रूह फाता बदरो नैन आधा तो बैठे कुर्सियों पे शाद होते हैं सर को झुकाए आबिद नाशाद होते हैं सर को झुकाए आबिद नाशाद होते हैं अब यूं बयान करता है राविए नेक ज़ैनब से यूं यज़ीद लईन ने किया क्यों देखा मेरे ओज को ऐ ख्वारे भाई को तेरे कत्ल किया मैंने तशनका भाई को तेरे कत्ल किया मैंने तशनका होता नगर तबाह जनाबे बतूल का बैत जो मेरी करता नवासा रसूल का बैत जो मेरी करता नवासा रसूल का ये सुन के कांपने लगी ज़ैनब जिगर कबा चेहरे से अपने बाल हटा कर दिया जवाब क्या बकरा है होश में खराब गर्दे से चांद के कहीं मट्टी है गर्दे से चांद के कहीं मिटती है होता नवागर कल्बे बुदराब सर काटता तू बिन तेरे सालत सर काटता तू बिन तेरे सालत बोला ये तब यजीद से एक मर्द देखना औरत है कौन ये तू बता है मेरे शाम सुनने में ऐसा आज तक आया नहीं कलाम है कौन से घराने से और क्या है तेरा नाम है कौन से घराने से और क्या है तेरा नाम बतला के होवे चैन दिल पुरमलाल को क्यों तूने कैद कर लिया इस खस्ता हाल क्यों तूने कैद कर लिया इस खस्ता हाल को इस मर्द से ये ज़ैनब शाब ने कहा ये क्या कहेगा मुझसे सुन मेरा माजरा मैं वो हूँ जिसके भाई का सर तन से कट गया मैं वो हूँ जिसका कोई वारिस नहीं बचा मैं वो हूँ जिसका कोई वारिस नहीं नाशाद हूँ गरीब हूँ गम की सताई हूँ मैं खो के मारिया में भरे घर को मैं खो के मारिया में भरे घर को आई हूँ पढ़ती है खुतबा शाम में ख्वार हुसैन की
मैं हाशिम साहब का बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ कि वो जान रहे थे कि मौसम भी खराब है और थोड़ा सा फिक्रमंद भी थे लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी वो यहाँ आए तशरीफ लाए और फिर इस खूबसूरत तरीके से उन्होंने सलाम पढ़ा कि मजलिस-ए-शाह में यूं बरसरे मेंबर होना इसको कहते हैं मुकद्दर का सिकंदर होना अल्लाह ताला उनकी इस इबादत को कबूल फरमाए और हम इस मामले में भी खुशकिस्मत हैं कि हमें अल्लाह मियाँ ने इतनी अच्छी खूबसूरत मस्जिद दी है जिसमें बारिश आए तूफान आए अल्लाह के फजलो करम से हमारा काम चलता ही रहे दुआ कीजिए कि अल्लाह ताला उन तमाम हजरात को जो उन्होंने दामे दर में सुखने किसी तरह से भी इस मस्जिद को में हिस्सा लिया है उनके लिए अल्लाह ताला तौफीकात में उनकी इजाफा करे उनके लिए आसानी पैदा करे उनके बच्चों के लिए भी आसानी पैदा करे और आज की मजलिस जो सिलसिला चला है ये इंशाल्लाह ट्यूसडे तक लगातार चलता रहेगा चैनल तक आपसे दरख्वास्त है आप और अपने और अजीज दोस्त जितने हैं उनको बताइएगा कि तशरीफ लाए मस्जिद में और मुझे उम्मीद है कि चैनल के नज़दीक लोग और ज़्यादा आएंगे अमूमन जुमेरात को बहुत ज़्यादा लोग होते थे लेकिन पता नहीं क्या वजह है कि कुछ मसरूफियात बढ़ गई हैं शायद अल्लाह मियाँ सबके लिए आसानियाँ पैदा करे इन अल्फाज के साथ मैं वो साहब जिन्होंने आज की मजलिस को स्पॉन्सर किया है दुआ करें कि अल्लाह ताला उनकी तौफीकात में इजाफा करे उनके लिए आसानियाँ पैदा करे उनके बच्चों के लिए आसानियाँ पैदा करे और उनके मरहूमीन को मग़फ़िरत करे और उनकी दर्जात बुलंद करे। और इसके साथ साथ मैं ये भी आप लोगों से दरख्वास्त करूँगा कि दुआ करें कि वो तमाम मोमिनीन जो बीमार हैं, अल्लाह मियाँ उन लोगों को पंजाब बीमार करबला के सदक़े में सेहत याबी अता करे। हमारे मौलाना तलबी साहब, माजिद मूसी साहब, मुराद अली खान साहब, अमीर अब्बास साहब, नसीम साहब और जितने और हज़रात बीमार हैं, अल्लाह मियाँ सब उनको सेहत से। इन अल्फाज के साथ मैं दरख्वास्त गुजार हूँ जनाब मौलाना से कि तशरीफ़ लाएँ। बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
For those of our listeners online, if you're wondering why I'm standing here and not on the minbar, we are unable to get the screen up, so it's in the way of the minbar, and therefore, inshallah, the lecture will be standing up. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وإذا أراد الله بقوم سوءا فلا مرد له وما لهم من دونه من وال. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات بيجي محمد وعلى Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. The verse that I chose for tonight's majlis is Ra'ad, ayat number 11, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses by saying, indeed, inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. That indeed Allah does not change a people's lot or their status unless they change what is in their souls. And when Allah wishes to visit ill on a people, there's nothing that can avert it, and they have no protector besides Him. So the first portion, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim, tells us the aspect of how it is partially also our efforts that is needed in order for us to achieve something. If we want to bring about a change, if we want some sort of, innovation in a positive manner, then it's not just that we say, oh Allah, go ahead and do this for us. He says, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin. Allah will not change the state of a people unless they change from within themselves. So here we understand the concept where if an ill visits a person, nothing can avert it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it happen and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes that to happen. And likewise, the vice versa. We live in a society, in a world where there's a lot of comfort in life with all these different tools and gadgets that we have, and they become part of our life. Back in the day, and many of our folks, elderly sitting over here even, they can imagine how life was without these, gadgets and these smartphones and these smart tablets and these smart watches and these smart things, how life was without it. Not too long ago, maybe 35, 40, 50 years ago, life without it and life with it. Now today, you could basically think about a lot of these things and there might be something out there for it. You think about it as, a topic that I wish this was something that was being addressed. So, well, no, it's already been addressed. I wish I could just be at home and food be delivered to me. Of course, this is a known thing now. Someone asking this 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was unheard of. But now you have all these different apps that you just click on it and food is delivered on your doorstep and you don't have to get up and move. Only the amount to get up and go to your door and open it and pick up the food and come back where you were sitting. So while things are advancing, we are getting more and more advanced with all of these different technological advancements that are coming in. So those who lived, this long and they've seen that part and that portion and that sort of lifestyle, and they have also witnessed this sort of lifestyle, they will definitely say, well, life has become more comfortable. With all these different things and the advancement that is out there, life has definitely gotten, better. And there are a lot more facilities that are available that weren't available before. Whether it is medical facilities that didn't exist before, many of the advancement in medical science that didn't exist before, many of the advancement in communication that didn't exist before. All this advancement has definitely uplifted the human race. They brought about some sort of ease to our lifestyle. If you agree with me, you'll send a loud nara salawat. So you agree with me that when those things didn't exist in the past, life was a little bit tougher. In order for our ancestors to cook something, it wasn't that the fruits were easily available for them to go ahead and buy. And then they didn't have the, in the kitchen, the microwave, the oven, the dishwasher, the refrigerator to keep them. They would go ahead and buy everything fresh on the same day because they can't keep it overnight. They don't have anything which will keep this substance without expiring or without going rotten. So they would go ahead and buy it every single day. Now that is a luxury. You can just go ahead and buy things for the entire week and you don't have to worry about that. When it comes to cooking, they didn't have these oven range, they didn't have this, cooking stoves, and they didn't have these microwaves, they didn't have these toaster ovens, they didn't have any of those things. So things must have been difficult for them to cook things, prepare things. Or for example, today in other fields that we're all involved in, especially after pandemic hit us, those who could not even have imagined that they could work from home, they're working from home. How? If it wasn't for this computer, there's a screen in front of you, you wouldn't have been able to work from home. Now there are of course still many professions there that they have to go to work still. But even, for example, the physicians, when they don't have to, they can just do the telemed online. They're visiting their patients and this is called a well visit for them. Of course, if someone needs shots, they have to come in person. That we haven't gotten to that technological advancement where these shots can be given over, telemed yet. But those days are not too far away. That probably will end up happening still. But there's still certain professions, they still have to go to work. So we find that computers made our lives easy. The phones made our lives easy. Cleaning, the vacuum cleaners and all these other cleaning gadgets that we have, they've made our lives easier. The fans, the AC, the condition, the heat, all that stuff, that is for our luxury. They're making our lives easier and better. Remote control things. Before we needed to, print out the maps if you wanted to go from one place to another. Now you have these navigational tools built into your phone, in your gadgets. All you have to do is punch in the address and there you go, the navigation starts. I'm saying all of these things and I feel, that I'm saying things that kids will be like, what is he talking about? Why is he telling us these things which are so common now? Why do we need to know these things? Because it's something which is a common thing nowadays. It's not something which is, extraordinary. You should go to the third world country where they still don't have these things. Yeah, you might be able to amaze them, but you're not going to amaze us by telling us all of these advancements that have taken place. So people, there was a time people used to buy newspapers. I'm sure some people still do, get the newspaper delivered to their doorstep. But now you can just read up-to-date news on the go, every single second and minute, updated, digitally, going onto the website of these big newspaper, outlets or newspaper companies. So the life has become more comfortable and easier with all of these things. And you sent a salawat to tell me that that is the case. The question is, if the life is more feasible and comfortable and luxurious and there is ease in it, is the life also peaceful or not? Life is easy. Things that we just talked about, and I gave you the examples of, they've made our lives much easier. But also, have they made our lives peaceful or not? That is another question that has to be addressed. So the question is the life more peaceful or not? The rate of suicide, anxiety, depression, is it on the going down or is it going up? If all of these easeful things which are making our lives easier and comfortable, shouldn't these things be diminishing? The stress level, the depression, anxiety. Well, we see that these things are still on the rise. What happened? All these advancements that we're having, are they not providing that peaceful nature in the life? If these gadgets were bringing comfort and luxury and ease, how come they're not bringing the peace at the same time? Our ancestors had to travel long distances to fetch water with fast moving vehicles. Today, we don't have to worry about that. You think about going from one place to another in the past. I'll give you one example, and I don't want to beat on this point too long because I want to get to something within the time that I have. 40, 50, 60 years ago, when people wanted to go to Hajj, it was probably their last travel. And they bid farewell to their families, saying, we may not even come back. We're going to Hajj. Well, you're not going to jihad. You're not going to a battleground. But because they would go to Hajj, many would just die there and they will not make it back. First, you had to go through, for example, if you live in a country far away from, where Hajj is done, Saudi Arabia, you would travel by ship through water. It will take, weeks and maybe a month or so before you can get to Saudi Arabia. And then all the hardships to make it to Makkah and all the ibadat. Now the facilities you see in Makkah and Medina, they're, compared to all the, luxuries that they're provided and all the comfort and ease that there's there. Back in the day, people would go to this travel. They won't even know if they're going to make it back alive. So a lot of people, we see that, when this phenomena is making our lives easier, we see that are these things also making our lives peaceful or not? At that time, there was less social crisis. Today, there's more social crisis. Although we have become modern and progression is off the roof, but we see the, suppression and even to an extent, going backwards in many of the areas when it comes to the social life of human beings. Today, top countries in the world, economically, where there's more welfare, better living standards, medical facilities, have much higher rate of depression and suicide than the poorer countries. And we come from some of these poorer countries. So if you go back to them, you find that, while they don't have the same medical system, they don't have the same facilities, they don't have all the same things that we have here in the, most advanced country in the world, we find that the people over there are happier in general. Their lives are more peaceful, and generally speaking. But here you have a higher rate of depression, suicide, and then poorer countries. What we have today with us in these gadgets that we have that we're using, every few months later, they come out with some sort of update. The new phone is out, and all it has done, it has gone maybe 0.01% better, right? It has gotten better 0.01%. We'll go jump and we'll go ahead and buy it. That will be the first thing for us to go ahead and get it. Why? Because it's new out there. Are these going to bring peace, or are we headed in the direction of lack of peace? The most professional artist, the one who's able to draw the most beautiful pictures that left behind us. Listen to these examples, because I'm bringing you to the point that I wanted to make. The most professional artist will not be able to draw anything while riding a bike. You ask him to draw the beautiful picture and a scenery of something. I want you to draw Khane Kaaba or the Haram of Imam Hussein. He said, sure, but I need peace. He said, no, I want you to draw while you're riding a bike with me. I said, that's not going to happen. We're going to be constantly moving. It's very difficult to keep the canvas straight. The pen and the marker will not be working. No, that's not possible. What do I need in order to make a beautiful, picture for you, paint a beautiful picture for you? I need peace. I need to be stationed somewhere. And I don't need crowd. I need to be left alone even sometimes in order for me to produce this masterpiece that you're waiting to see. No, we want you to ride a motorbike with us while you're doing this. The most experienced cardiologist who's done hundreds of thousands of successful hundreds of successful heart surgeries on people will have hard time performing one on his own son, one on his own father, one on his own spouse, one on his own loved one. They've done hundreds of them, but those people were not their loved ones. So it was easy for them to perform them, and they were successful at it. Now they're doing it on their own son, their own father. Their hands will be shaking, and they will have the most difficult time. So what happened to your professionalism? Is that professionalism one way? This is the emotional attachment that I have. Surgeon, if his mind is occupied with something else, for example, some family issues, going through children who are for example, son is on drugs or something, or someone had died in the family, or some other thing is troubling his mind. If he goes to work like this, he has to perform surgery. If his mind is occupied with something which is troubling him, what is the rate of him being successful at performing the surgery? Have we realized, the duty that some of these physicians have to do? They can ill afford to make a mistake. You and I, in our field, we can make a mistake and we can apologize later on and we say, sorry, we made a mistake and I want to correct it. I sent the wrong file, delete that, I'm sending a new file. I sent the wrong software, delete that, I'm going to send you a new software. Something in our technical field, something in our, I'm giving a lecture, I made a mistake, I recited it wrong, and I gave you wrong message. Next day, I have the opportunity to come. But if a surgeon messes up on his surgery and it ends up costing life of an individual, he can't just go ahead and say, well, I'm sorry. He can redo the mistake, or he can make up for the mistake that he has made. So he has to have that peace of mind. The doctor has to have peace of mind. The artists have to have peace of mind in order for them to perform and function properly. What am I getting at? They want away from all of these disturbances. They don't want their phone nearby. They don't want TV nearby. They don't want any of these things which could be distracting them, even human beings. They want peace of mind in order for them to go ahead and achieve something which is at stake right now. So here we're getting to something. That peace of mind is needed in order to achieve these. Students, they need to have peace of mind at home in order for them to perform well at school. If at home they're having trouble, their parents are going through divorce, the parents are struggling, they're fighting, and they see that all the time happening, or other things are bothering them. They're being bullied, for example. Other things that are external factors are bothering them. They're not going to be able to perform well in school. They're going to have, the grades are going to come down. So although we have seen examples of extraordinary people that even though they're preoccupied with certain things, still they're able to function properly. But that is very rare. There are few examples of some of the ulama, great scholars, that they buried their own son who was martyred in the battlefield, and the next day the alim was back to these school, and he was teaching again. He said, take a day off. Example of Imam Khomeini. His son was shaheed, was martyred, but he did not say, well, I'm going to take a break for 1 week from the dars and we'll come back, because I have to go through the Soyam Majlis and Chehlum Majlis and all that. The next day he was back at work. Now, of course, these are extraordinary people. We're not saying that all of us are like that. We see these sort of characteristics only in Masumin. But of course, it is possible humanly for some of the humans to also develop these sort of things. They have a stronger, determination, and they have a stronger faith in certain things, that even their own loved one who has died just now in front of them, Imam Khomeini's son was shaheed. He didn't have any, he had issues, of course, he had problem with it, must have gone through trauma, but he was back to work the very next day. What can we do to bring that peace in ourselves? We're busy trying to fix the environment. Oh, this is wrong, that is wrong, that has to be fixed, this has to be fixed. If this was like this, then it would have been better. If that was like this, then it would have been better. We're always pointing finger towards other things. The environment that is around us, we need to fix that. If that is fixed, then we'll be able to bring peace into our lives. We're trying to fix external factors to resolve our internal problems. There are problems internally we have, and we're trying to fix it with these external. Now, sometimes external factors, as I said, do have issues. If your son is having trouble, you're going to have trouble focusing in your work. But if you try to fix everything and saying that everything is outside that is troubling and has nothing to do with my inside, it's all external issues and nothing is internal, go back to the ayat that I recited. Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah does not change the state of a people until they change what is in their own nafs. You want things to get better? You need to start from your own nafs. Don't always point finger, that is wrong, this has to be fixed. If that was fixed, then we wouldn't be having such issues. Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. If there's a problem in marriage, the easiest solution that people find, let's get divorced. Work on it. Let's see if you can fix something. No, there might be things that are not fixable at all. So that's why Allah has made this to be halal. At-talaqu marratan, the ayat of Quran speaks about it. But the very first moment you have issue, husband, wife, let's get divorced. That's the easiest solution out there. So we're looking for divorce to be the external factor to come back and fix what? The internal issues that we are having. If there are financial struggles, we can easily say when the money comes, our issues will be resolved. When the money comes, our issues will be resolved. When I'll have this much money, then I'll be able to do this. That when I will have this, that never happens. Someone said, well, when I finish my studies, then I will start praying. Right now, I don't have time. When I get a job, then I'll start praying. When I get married, then I'll start praying. When I have children, then I'll start praying. That when you're doing this shartiya, jumla shartiya, setting conditions, that when it'll never come, because you're only deceiving yourself. If the solution was having lots of money, if the solution was having lots of everything, the comfort of all the world in the world that you could possibly imagine, the peace of mind, having a beautiful house, having a beautiful ride, having a beautiful family, peace of mind was having all of these luxurious things in the world, then why do you find these celebrities are the ones having marital issues? Every day, a celebrity found dead because of the overdose of this banned substance or that substance or this and that. Was there anything lacking in their lives? They had all the money in the world. They were living in the best of the facilities. They were flying in the best of the facilities. They were living the life that anyone would even, many of us can't even imagine. But still, they had drug issues. Still, they had marital problems. Still, they had problems with their children. Still, they got divorced. Still, they had all these other issues, social issues. And then some of them were living in immense stress. so that they went ahead and they committed suicide. Why it's still happening if all these luxuries were in their lap? Two richest men in the world, one worth 180 billion, the other worth 125 billion. Both have been divorced and the large settlement done with their spouses. If that money was the reason for having a happily married life, then we are wrong. If you're looking for a spouse, that spouse, I want to get married to so-and-so because they're very rich, then you have wrong standards. Look at these examples. These are worldly examples. That the two most richest people in the world, they could not survive as far as their marriage is concerned. They had everything in the world. But these are just examples. Top athletes, you know, they have all the luxuries that they could imagine, yet they're going through difficult times. Top singers, celebrities, many of them committed suicide. What was lacking in their lives? Peace isn't only an external, but more so an internal thing. You know, have you ever seen the athletes when they have a big match, big game? Are they practicing the last moment? Especially the contact sports like boxing or wrestling or these. No, their coach tells them, relax, meditate. Take this time right now to relax your mind. You don't want to be practicing right now. Just sit down and relax 10 minutes, half hour before your big game starts. You say, no, I could spend this time working on my physique. No, you've done all of that already. What you need right now is focus. You focus and then you enter into that play, that field or that plane or that place, that platform, wherever it is that you're performing. But you grab that peace of mind before you enter over there. If you do that, then you will find that you are coming out successful. So a lot of people externally, they have happy, but internally they have a very sad life. They are happy externally, they'll show that they're very happy, but internally they're suffering, and vice versa. Many are in big trouble externally. You know, something is hanging on their head. They're in so much debt. They're, for example, medically, they have some issues. Financially, they have issues. Other things are hanging on them. But internally, you find them at the peak of tranquility. Now, there could be positive or negative examples. But the best example that we find of what I was trying to tell you is the example of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. The musibat of Imam, while he is so focused on the task, on the day of Ashur, Imam has given the sacrifice of all of his family members, companions. Yes, Imam had, a great deal of love for them as well, but family is family. Imam gave sacrifice of all the family members. He has the 6-month-old in his hands, and Imam brings the 6-month-old, and Imam is at complete peace and tranquility. Imagine, can you and I even fathom, comprehend doing similar thing? That having lost 18 members of your family, butchered and killed in front of you, and then now you're taking your 6-month-old to go ahead and bring him to the battlefield. These are the words of Imam Hussein. Hawwin alayya ma nazala bi annahu bi'aynillah. It is easy for me. Listen to the words of Imam Hussein. He says, it's easy for me to bring Hazrat Ali Asghar to be martyred like this. He says, Hawwin alayya. It's easy for me to do this. Imam, how is it easy for you? Because it's in bi'aynillah. Because Allah is watching this. If you can imagine, if I'm being mistreated over here, but nobody saw it. Well, I can't really prove it. And secondly, I won't have that sympathy. But hundreds of people saw that I was mistreated. I say it was easy because everybody was watching. Because everybody was watching, it was easy for me. That I got mistreated over here, they'll take care of it. Imam Hussein is saying, Hawwin alayya. It's easy for me because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. I want you to look at yourself. Do you feel internal peace despite how bad things are externally? Or are you waiting for external factors, thinking if I have business, money, properties, then I'll have peace? I'll conclude with one story, which is one of the hikayat of Sheikh Saadi in Gulistan. Saadi says that I saw a businessman who had 150 camels worth of load and 40 workers. One day I was with him in his room in that small island in the south of Iran, which is called Kish. He said all night long, he was so worried and continuously talked about his goods, which were being brought from China to Turkmenistan, and other commodity from India, and so on and so forth. He said, Saadi, I want to make one last travel and then leave all of my businesses and stay home for the rest of my life. Saadi said, what is that last travel that you want to make? He said, I want to take the Persian sulfur to China, where they really value it. I'll be able to sell it for a good price. And then they'll pay good money. Bring eating utensils, cups, and mugs from China, trade them to Rome. At that time, Turkey was called Rome. Buy silk and garment from Rome and then sell them in India. Buy steel from India and sell it in Syria. Buy glass products from Syria, Halab, and then bring it to Yemen. Buy a Yemeni cloth and sell them here in Persia. And then I'll leave the business and sit home and I'll be comfortable. He then turned to Saadi. He said, oh, Saadi, you should talk now. Tell me, what have you seen? Have you heard? He said, on shani danistani kiruzi tajiri dar bayabani bi uftad as-sutur guft chashme tang dunyadar ra ba qanaat pur kunat khake gur. He mentioned all of these troubles that he had, the business going there, the business going there, bring that from there, bring that from there. And all night long, he was occupied that I don't know if my trade caravan made it out of China or not. Is it in Turkmenistan yet? Or have they left India yet? He was completely occupied. He said, what have you got, oh Sheikh Saadi? Sheikh Saadi said, all I have is this bag. He put it on his back and he walked out of there. He said, this is all my worry. I don't have any worries that my business is in China or in India or silk in here or, sulfur there or steel there. All that has occupied your mind. And you will never let go of this business with the ambitions that you have. He said, what's your worry, oh Sheikh Saadi? He said, this is my worry. He grabbed his bag and he walked out of there. You keep your hisab easy, hisab kitab easy. The easier it is, the easier it will be for you to give the accountability tomorrow. But those who committed the atrocities against Ahl Haram, their adhab will be extremely high. You think those people who paraded Zainab and Kulthum, brought them into Sham, humiliated them in front of these non-mahram men. Imagine bebasi of these women who had never stepped out of their houses for anything. Now they're being paraded without their male family members to be along with them, feeling no protection whatsoever. This is Narghay-Ada. These are all dushman. These are all enemies who are looking at them. You know the difference between Kufa and Sham was? In Kufa, when they were throwing sadaqah at them in the form of dates, in Sham, they were throwing pebbles and stones at them. In Sham, they were suffering more because the pebbles and the stones were being pelted at them. But Janab Zainab, the difficulty comes the moment Zainab, she sees that Zainul Abidin is being attacked. She stands up to defend the Imamat. But then this was the first victory of Zainab and Imam Hussein. That Yazid is no longer capable of keeping the prisoners anymore. He asked them, how do you want to leave? How can I make your comfort level high when you want to go back? How do you want to go back? When they had come into Sham, they were riding these camels that did not have any saddles. Now that they're leaving Sham, they're leaving in these carriages with honor and dignity. This was the first victory of Imam Hussein and Zainab. They said, we want to hold one last majlis. That was the first majlis that was established by Bibi Zainab. All the women from the Sham gathered. As they said, we want to bid farewell to the heads of Shuhada. The heads of Shuhada were brought one by one. As the head of a Shaheed was brought, the lady would move forward and grab a hold of it. All the heads came. Each and every single lady went up ahead, except the two small heads that sat there. Even the Shami ladies said, the women over there said, every head had a waris. How come these two heads, there's no waris for them to go ahead and mourn? Zainab looked at the heads of Aun and Muhammad, and she wept for Hussein, saying, how can I weep for my own children while I'm busy weeping for the son and the child of Ranabi Fatimatu Zahra? Ala lanatullah al-qawm al-zalimin. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Oh Allah, please accept our ibadah tonight. Oh Allah, we've committed a lot of sins. Please forgive our sins. Oh Allah, give us the tawfiq and ability to follow the teachings and the commands of Masumin alayhi salatu wasalam. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of our awaited Imam. Make us amongst the helpers and the soldiers of Imam. Akhir da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Ya Hussein.
क्या सितम हुसैन के दिल पर गुजर गए, क्या क्या सितम हुसैन के दिल पर गुजर गए, अकबर गुजर गए, अली असगर गुजर गए, क्या क्या सितम हुसैन के दिल पर गुजर गए, देती रही दुआई बहन बादे कत्ल शाह, देती रही दुआई बहन बादे कत्ल शाह, लाशों को रौंदते हुए लश्कर गुजर गए, क्या क्या सितम हुसैन के दिल पर गुजर गए, अकबर गुजर गए, अली असगर गुजर गए, क्या क्या सितम اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله، السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله، السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله، السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله، السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله، السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام ولي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى، السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور، أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين، ولعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها، ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله ملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن، بشراع ديني وخواتيم عملي، وقلبي لقلبكم سلم، وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه، السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأوداءه، السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدتي نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناصح، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الموصيين، السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوطهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. ونعم الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر والأخ الدافع عن أخيه المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيما زهد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل، والحقق الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولى وابن مولى، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء. السلطان والحسن علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمامنا وإمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك تحت لوائك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.